What's up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be doing the match preview for Barcelona versus Getafe in La Liga. I mean, the game is just coming in thick and fast every other day. I can barely keep up at this point, but you love watching your team play football, and Barcelona returned to the Montjuic for the first time since beating Valladolid 7-0. That feels like that was years ago. It feels we haven't played a home game in quite some time now, but we're back at the Montjuic hosting Getafe in a game that has been a very difficult kind of affair for Barcelona over the past few years. We struggled against Getafe a lot over this course of period of time, and it's not going to be an easy match, especially with Bordalas returning as the manager. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get the 200 likes in this video. Be very much appreciated. Also, if you're new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, before we get to this video is sponsored by OneMix. OneMix is a new upcoming sneaker brand that has some of the best designs I have seen from a sneaker company in a long time. First of all, their box is stunning. The shoes are fantastic. Comes with specific socks as well that you can wear with these shoes. The comfortability, mobility, endurance of the shoe is top notch. It's basically like a high level shoe for affordable price. It is ridiculous, and you look fantastic wearing it as well. On their website, they have a variety of different options, designs, different kind of sneakers and shoes as well that you can pick from, all free shipping as well. So make sure you click the top link in the description down below and check out OneMix today. Let's start off by taking a look at the league table, where Barcelona are currently sat in first place in La Liga on 18 points after playing 6 matches. We have 6 wins, still undefeated, no draws, no losses. We have a 4-point lead ahead of second place Real Madrid, who have a record of 4 wins, 2 draws, still undefeated. They've never lost a game, but dropping 4 points in total so far. Athletic Club have climbed the mountain quite a bit. They do have, of course, 1 game more played than everyone else, but they have 4 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses on 13 points. And Atletico Madrid, who are currently on 12 points, we have now a 6-point gap on Atletico Madrid. They have a record of 3 wins, 3 draws after their draw against Rayo Vallecano this past weekend. We're looking pretty good. I think right now the main objective for Barcelona is to get to the Real Madrid match, of course, Clásico, at the end of October. I think a month, by a month on Thursday. Of course, there is going to be an international break as well. Get to that game with the same, if not better, difference, and then you can go full flow, make the gap even bigger than it already is. And it could reach that good point, of course, beforehand, because you take a look at the top teams and who they'll be facing this match week. Real Madrid will be hosting Deportivo Alavés. That should be a very easy 3 points. And Atletico Madrid will be traveling to Celta Vigo. Of course, for us, it's a difficult game, but for Celta Vigo and Atletico Madrid, should be a win for Atletico. They done not to really struggle there too much. Celta Vigo only turned up against Barcelona. If you haven't seen the evidence of that over the past 5 to 10 league campaigns, I don't know what else much I can do for you, but I do expect both the Madrid sides to get 3 points during this week, which of course means that Barcelona have to do the same as well to at least keep the current distance that we currently have, and Getafe will not make that easy. Now, if you take a look at our opponents in Getafe and where they're currently standing in the league table, they are currently sat in 18th place in La Liga in the relegation zone. Hopefully they stay there by the end of the season on 4 points. After playing 6 matches, they have 0 wins, 4 draws, and 2 losses. They are one of only few teams that have not recorded a single victory so far in La Liga this season, and are having a horror start to their league campaign. Let's now take a look at our opponents in Getafe. Like I mentioned so far, this league campaign, they've off to a horrendous start, especially for their expectations. They probably see themselves around a mid-table side in La Liga, but they have not had a good start beyond needs whatsoever. But the last time we did face Getafe was actually at the Montjuic, where we did record a 4-0 victory on the night, following, of course, our 0-0 draw in the first game of last season in their stadium. It was an emphatic win for Barcelona. They were looking for revenge in this game. We certainly got it. I believe Ter Stegen, now of course he's injured. I think he was coming back from injury during this time. I think he's getting a lot of clean sheets on the bounce. Of course, you had Raphinha scoring, João Felix, Frenkie de Jong, Fermin Lopez getting one at the end as well. A very comfortable win for Barcelona. But if you look at this lineup, we're missing a lot of players. No Ter Stegen, no Araujo, no Cancelo, no Jong, no Christensen, no Gundogan, no Joao Felix. 7 of the 11 players that played in this match are either not available for selection tomorrow or are no longer at Barcelona, which is a crazy sight to see. But again, it was a very, very comfortable win in that evening at the Montjuic. Now, take a look at Getafe's last 6 matches in all competition. In their last match, they drew 1-1 with Leganes. They lost to Betis 2-1. They lost to Sevilla 1-0. They drew 0-0 with Sociedad and 0-0 with Rayo Vallecano. And they also recorded a 1-1 draw against Athletic Club. They're a team that barely scores and barely concedes as well. So I don't know where that's a little bit of pros and cons for Getafe there, but again, the results are just not going their way so far in the league. Now, let's first take a look at their last match in all competition, which was a Sevilla 1-0 defeat. This was, of course, away at Sevilla, and you can see the lineup, of course, Getafe in a 4-4-2. As we are used to, Carlos Perez, of course, the former Barcelona player, has signed for Getafe this past summer, so he's a new asset for them. No more Damian Suarez for them, thank the Lord for that. I believe he left either in January or this past summer. It was recent, but again, their team is still quite strong. Their front line has been suffering a lot with injuries as well, and in this match, they kept their defense very, very tight, but in the end, they conceded the 1 goal, which gave Sevilla the 3 points. Next up is their 2-1 loss to Betis. I believe this was the debut of Victor Roque. I believe even Victor Roque scored in this game, where he won a penalty. He did something of use, but it was a very difficult game. Of course, the Benito Villamarin, not an easy team to go for whatsoever, and it was a game where Getafe were well in it for some time now. Again, they're kind of, park the bus approach was, working for some time now. I think they reached, the hour mark of the game, where they were still 0-0. Getafe have this thing this season where they just concede a lot late on. They really hold it tight for a good amount of time, at least until the hour mark in majority of games, but they tend to crumble near the end when they kind of want to go for it a little bit on their end. Again, striker-wise, they're really, suffering a lot with that kind of injury. They're playing midfielders and stuff like that at the striker position, so it's been quite tough for them so far, and that was evident in this defeat. But again, David Soria playing very well for them so far this year. And finally, the last match of all competition was a 1-1 draw with Leganes, and I did actually watch this game, and my god, are Getafe shy. They were getting cooked by Leganes in this game. I think Leganes scored in the 75th minute from a set piece. I believe a cross that came in and headed in that was scored. And then Getafe actually got a penalty in the 85th minute, and Borja Mayoral, who finally came back, one of their few strikers that was injured, coming back, he scored the penalty to make it 1-1. So they needed a penalty to get a point in this game. So they're getting cooked against Leganes at home is a sight and a testament to how poorly they've done this season. And this match, they just weren't up to the races whatsoever. Nothing going forward. Yeah, they defended pretty well for 70 minutes or so. They didn't really give Leganes too many chances, but Leganes were really making it through their defensive line, cruising through their midfield as well. So it didn't make it easy for Leganes, but Leganes were still dumb in the game, and that definitely helped with their confidence later on in the match. So overall, final thoughts on Getafe. They're a team that can cause some serious damage in this league, but so far they have not done it whatsoever this season. Their manager, of course, is Jorge Bordalas. He is the definition of park the bus, defend for your life, nick a counterattack kind of manager. People say he's kind of the second coming of Diego Simeone, but at least Diego Simeone is a bit more open when his team are the better side. But Bordalas just shuts the place down beyond belief, especially with Getafe. And when he went to the Valencia job, tried to, open it up a bit more, got the sack, went back to what he knows best, which is, of course, parking the bus. In terms of Getafe and players to look out for, I think David Soria, their goalkeeper, has been their best player this season by far. Of course, we know that their captain, Stegen, has always, caused trouble against Barcelona. They have 2 former Barcelona players, and Carlos Alenia, Carlos Perez as well. They're going to want to come to Barcelona and, of course, prove somewhat of a point. I mean, they were known in the past years as kind of that shithousery kind of team that would just, make annoy you in stupid tackles, push the ball away, especially with Neom and Damian Suarez as their fullbacks. They just were tough watch. Even back in the day when they had their craziness before Bordalas came in as well. They're that kind of team. They can cause some serious damage to the top side. Look at the results I mentioned earlier. 1-1 draw with Athletic Club at the San Mamés, and 0-0 against Real Sociedad. Against the topper teams is where Getafe tend to show their strengths in terms of parking the bus and trying to nick one on the counterattack, or nick a penalty, or just nick a deflection goal. Just nick something to put the ball in the back of net against their opponents. They will make it very difficult. Again, they tend to perform very well against the top, 7 or 8 in La Liga. Definitely the top 3, like Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid. So they will not make this game easy, although their poor form this season will hopefully give Barcelona some confidence and momentum to get a strong result. Now, we do have some big injury updates coming in for Barcelona ahead of the match tomorrow against Getafe. Firstly, of course, is in regards to the first team captain and starting goalkeeper in Marc-Andre ter Stegen, who went down with a terrible injury against Villarreal on Sunday. The club released an official statement saying that Marc-Andre ter Stegen has a complete tear of his tendon in his right knee, and he will undergo surgery immediately. A new medical report will follow the surgery. The surgery was done by Dr. Juan Carlos, who did also the surgeries for Gavi and Bernal over the past year. So a complete tear in his right knee tendon, which is one of the worst injuries you can get. I think the famous one is R9 when he got it at Inter, and then of course took him like a year and a half, 2 years to come back. Ter Stegen has pretty much suffered that same injury. Of course, a few hours later, he underwent the operation, and the club announced that the operation was a success, and now he is out, and his progress will determine his availability. So no timeline from Barcelona. We saw the timeline, of course, for Dani Olmo, for Fermin, even for Marc Bernal as well, but no timeline for Ter Stegen that shows the severity and the guesswork pretty much of when Ter Stegen will come back. But the guesswork has already begun. Tony Juan Martí has come out saying that Ter Stegen is confident that he will play again this season. He hopes to return in May and is optimistic that the team will be fighting for at least one trophy by then, Copa, La Liga, or the Champions League, because of course Super Cup will already be done by then. The estimated recovery time will be between 6 to 9 months, and everyone is clear that the main thing is to recover fully. However, the player will do everything he can to return as soon as possible. Ter Stegen is the one who forced to undergo the surgery immediately as soon as possible. He does not want to lose one single day. Of course, he had the injury on Sunday, surgery done Monday, as quickly as you like. Of course, with Marc Bernal, it took him about 2 weeks to have the surgery, so it shows how fighting and hungry Ter Stegen is to return. Having Miguel from AS also mentioned that he will be out for around 7 to 8 months. So again, he could maybe come back at the end of the season. Not going to be a big deal. Look, apparently Ter Stegen wants to do a, Thibaut Courtois 2.0, come back last second to play Champions League final for Barcelona. That's, his game plan, if, of course, Barcelona get to that point. Look, I don't think Ter Stegen's going to come back. This is the same knee that he's effed up now twice. If he can recover in 6 to 7 months, then my God, does he have a miracle worker on him. I don't think he will come back, and I don't think we should be planning for his return. And I think if we do sign a goalkeeper or Naki Penez on a flyer, they won't get dropped regardless for Ter Stegen. So this kind of persona of him all coming back and, playing the last month of the season, I don't see it happening, especially with no national tournament coming up. If there's the Euros or World Cup coming up, I'd be way more optimistic that he maybe rush himself a little bit, really try and progress and come back. But with there being no summer tournament and him to rush back for, I doubt he will make his return this season. But we'll wait and see. The most important thing is that the operation was successful. It is a tear in his right knee tendon, and he will be out for basically the rest of the season. Maybe might come back in the last few weeks, month at the absolute max. Now, we do also have another injury update in regards to Frenkie de Jong. We are expecting him to come back very soon. Him and Gavi have still been training with the first team, taking part in some of the sessions. Majority of the sessions, there progress and work is gradually increasing. No real update on Gavi quite yet. We're still hearing for him. It will be 100% after this international break coming up. But with Frenkie, he might come back a bit beforehand. Now, having Miguel from AS came out saying that Barcelona still don't know the return date of Frenkie de Jong. His ankle is doing better, but he still doesn't feel 100% comfortable quite yet. 5 months after getting the injury, his feelings are different with each every day. He lacks the regularity, are baffling the Barcelona doctors, who are currently unable to solve the mystery of his return date. Meanwhile, the player is turning a deaf ear to the club's request to meet for renewal. The club believes the attitude is simply a strategy to leave for free in 2 years, or basically see how long things turn around. But right now, everything seems to be in the hands of the player himself. Again, having Miguel is a bit pessimistic kind of guy, so he's going to throw in, of course, renewal talks about that. The most important thing to take from here is that the club still don't know 100% he will be coming back. Now, Fernando Polo, Mundo Deportivo, came out saying that Hansi Flick and his team are aiming to have Frenkie de Jong back in the last week before the international break in October, either against Young Boys or against Alaves. He was not called up for the Dutch national team for me, which was again quite a little bit of a surprise because Koeman likes to nick these players when they come back. So he will not be going on international duty anyway. So if he comes back for Young Boys and Alaves, cool. If not, he'll have another 2 weeks to hopefully intensify his recovery. We could maybe see both Frenkie and Gavi come back after the international break, but Hopefully he will make an appearance before then. That would be nice, or at least be in the squad list. We'll wait and see how things do progress. When Barcelona were doing the shoot for their Hermano, the suit for the Champions League, one of the people asked Frenkie de Jong if you can make one wish, what would it be? He said to recover from my injury as quickly and as smartly as possible. So again, I think the urgency is there from him, but I think he wants to really take his time with it. It is of course a recurring issue for him. That's why he's gone with the conservative treatment rather than taking the surgery route. So we'll see with Frenkie. Again, maybe comes back before the international break. Worst case scenario, hopefully afterwards. Time now to get into the press conference reaction of Hansi Flick. To be honest, I'm just happy this man survived the press conference. He had to leave twice during the presser due to him coughing severely. He had to walk out for a few minutes and walked out again, so thankfully he survived. It reminded me a lot of when Kounde a few years ago just started bleeding from his nose randomly in the presser, but he survived it. He answered the questions, very, very short-lived because he was basically dying up there. But let's get into see what Flick had to say this morning in the presser. First, he came out asking about the match against Getafe tomorrow, saying that we still have to do things differently. Every game is different and we have to adapt to our game plan. We hope to continue with that tomorrow. Of course, the first question he was asked was in regards to the goalkeeping position, signing someone, how's Stegen doing, what's the plan? Flick said, first of all, Estadi Olímpic is doing very well. He is very professional. It is always difficult for a second goalkeeper, but he is ready to play. We trust him, but we have to talk about it. He also mentioned how there will be a meeting later on today. This is of course leaked in the press a few hours before the press conference. Mundo Deportivo came out saying that there will be a meeting today to decide on the decision of signing a new goalkeeper, whether to sign someone now as a free agent, wait until January to sign someone, or don't sign anyone at all. Tony Juan Martí also came out saying that right now Szczesny is also in the running and the club is looking at his profile. He played up to 35 games last season for Juventus and that makes him a very real candidate. Keylor Navas is also eager to join as well. Of course, both free agents can join immediately at Barcelona. So we'll wait and see how things do turn out in that regards. If you are interested in more details on the goalkeeping position, I did upload a video on Goals TV. The link is in my community tab on YouTube, or first link on my Twitter page as well. There's a 10-minute video discussing who can come in, who would I prefer, all the news and rumors around it as well. So check that video out if you are interested in more goalkeeping news. Now back to the presser. He was asked on Lewandowski about his form, needing rest, all that sort of stuff. And look, I'm not surprised by his performances. He scored 6 goals and we know that he can do very well. We need players to accompany him so that he can score more goals. That's what we want. We want to play well for the fans. We're coming home and we're really looking forward to playing for the fans. On the template, he said that we've analyzed the game against Villarreal and there are many things that need to be improved. We haven't reached at the end of the road quite yet and we can still always do better. He was then asked on rotation, saying that we're thinking of making some rotations, but Kounde is not going to be one of those players. He's in top form. He's very, very fit, and we'll see what happens with Inigo tomorrow. I will speak to him based on how he feels, stuff like that. He's also asked on resting Lamine Yamal, and this for me is where the sticky wicket situation comes into play. He said on Lamine Yamal, saying that look, we have all the data on each players. He doesn't need rest at the moment, but we will look at it. I don't think he needs to rest tomorrow. We have to start well tomorrow and start with a great team. Lamine has been doing incredible this season. We have to continue with his performances. As I said in the previous press conference, it's important to look after these type of players. At the moment, he is not referring any problems. Also talking about him getting a lot of tackles in La Liga, and the referees do have to protect Lamine. It's very clear from this answer that I believe that Hansi Flick will start Lamine Yamal. Could maybe come off around the hour mark because he said that we need to start well, maybe get the result, then rest, but we're looking at Lamine Yamal minutes tomorrow for sure. I'll talk about that, of course, in the lineup prediction. He was then asked on Araujo, his recovery, how he's doing. He said, look, he's doing well. I don't know when he'll be back, but he's working well. I see him very happy. When he comes into the locker room, it's very noticeable. When we need him, of course, he is one of our captains. And finally, he was asked on the form of the current captain of the team, who's going to be walking out with the team tomorrow, Raphinha, saying, look, I'm not surprised. He's doing the best for the team. He started off with a good dynamic, and everyone laughed a lot with him in the locker room. He does everything for the team, and that is the most important aspect. And that concluded Hansi Flick's press conference reaction ahead of the match against Getafe tomorrow. Let's now get into the lineup prediction. We'll start with the manager, of course, Hansi Flick. I'm going to try my best to predict this lineup. I think it will be fairly simple to predict after he did, of course, some good rotation against Villarreal on Sunday. I believe that Hansi Flick will select this lineup on the screen right now. He'll go with Estadi Olímpic, of course, in goal, a back four of Kounde, Cubarsí, Inigo Martinez, and Alejandro Balde. Midfield 3 of Casado, Eric Garcia, and Pablo Torre. Front 3 of Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski, and Raphinha. I think the only player he will rest is Pedri, because of course he rested Casado, he rested Balde, he rested Kubarsi. Of course, this should be the game where he rests Lamine Yamal. I don't think he will. I think he thinks Lamine Yamal is too good. He's so young. He can play week in, week out. This for me is the game where you have to rest Lamine. I hope he does that, but I don't think he will. I think his idea is to start the game, hopefully have a good result by the hour mark, and then take Lamine Yamal off with about half an hour or so to go. I think the guarantees in this team are basically everyone except for maybe Lamine Yamal. Inigo might be rested since Kubarsi was rested. He might go with Kubarsi and Sergi Dominguez potentially. Might move Kounde in the middle, have Hector Fort play out wide. That could be a possibility as well. What's quite clear is that Raphinha will definitely lead this team out as the captain. I think Eric Garcia will definitely start. I really hope Pablo Torre starts. I think after his great cameo, he should. I think with that great cameo that Pablo Torre did have, that'll give Flick a more incentive to rest Pedri. That's kind of my mindset that I think that Hansi Flick will, approach. So that's the line that I think that Hansi Flick will select for this match. But of course, in the comments down below, let me know what you think Flick will go with. Now I'm going to show you guys my lineup, what I would do if I was the Barcelona coach, and I have made a few tinkers and change from my predicted lineup for Hansi Flick. I personally have gone with this lineup on the screen right now. I've gone with Inaki Peña in goal, a back four of Hector Fort, Jules Kounde, Pau Kubarsi, and Alejandro Balde, midfield three of Eric Garcia, Casado, and Pablo Torre, and a front three of Raphinha, Pau Victor, and Ansu Fati. Now, keep in mind, Ferran Torres is back for this game, so he might, have a bit of a higher order in the pecking order in regards to, Flick maybe starting him ahead of Ansu. First in my lineup, I wanted to rest Inigo Martinez. He's played a buttload of minutes recently, and again, he is on the bit of the older side. So what I've done, instead of bringing in Sergio Dominguez, I have, moved Kounde inside. And now I want to give Hector Fort a real good runabout. I think he's a good player. I think he's a talented player. He showed, of course, a lot of that last season. Now I want to see him, especially in the right back position. Balde, of course, returns at left back. That midfield three for me is solid. Of course, Casado was rested. Eric Garcia has barely played, so he's fresh. And Pablo Torre, of course, had a fantastic cameo. I was, of course, 1,000,000,000% gonna be resting Lamine Yamal. And you know what I said? Let's rest Lewandowski as well. This is the game to do it. You want to make some rotation. This is the time to, do it. If we are, God forbid, behind or drawing, I think they'll both be very effective off the bench anyways. And I have gone with Pau Victor ahead of Ferran Torres, simply on the fact that I really rate Pau Victor's ability, his movement in behind, his reading of the game. I really hope that he can really, be a toe poke kind of finisher and get in those key areas and make those darting runs as well, like we saw in preseason. I think he's more of a better striker than Ferran Torres can, perform in the 9. You could have, of course, put Ferran Torres on the left instead of Ansu Fati if Ansu Fati is not fully fit, ready to go. But I think that Hansi Flick did not play him against Villarreal to really hold him in for this match. That's why I think he's available to at least play 45 to an hour. So that's the line that I would select for this match. But of course, in the comments down below, let me know if you'd rather pick my lineup or Flick's lineup. Time now for my score prediction. What do I believe the result will be in this match? I think it will be a win for Barcelona. I've gone with Barcelona win this match by 3-1. I pray to the God himself that we get a clean sheet in this game, but Inaki Peña, of course, is not still with any more confidence than Ter Stegen. So I think we will concede at some point, which is kind of embarrassing to Getafe because they barely scored this season. But I think it will be some kind of crappy goal. I think Barca will get the result. Again, we are a better side. We're at home. Getafe haven't done that well this season whatsoever. We're on a flyer in the league as well. We got to keep the momentum and confidence going. I really hope that Flick does make some rotation in that front line to get the hunger back in this team. But if we can get 5 goals again, 6 goals, 7 goals, especially against Getafe, I would absolutely love to see it. But I think it will be a bit more of a conservative result. Again, keep in mind we are playing every 48 hours, which is absolutely freaking nuts on the players. So I don't think we'll see that kind of high intensity kind of game. That's why rotation will be key. I think it will be a comfortable win for Barcelona, and I've gone with Barcelona win this match by 3-1. But of course, in the comments down below, let me know what you think the scoreline will be. So that was a match preview for Barcelona versus Getafe in La Liga. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, in the comments down below as well, let me know your thoughts on everything we discussed. But the main thing I want to know firstly, of course, is your score prediction. But secondly, on the lineups. Firstly, would you rather pick my lineup or Flick's lineup? What do you think Flick would go with? What would you go with? You're the manager. Leave me all your thoughts down below. And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below as well if you haven't already. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the live watch along. Set the reminder on the screen and come and join me, watch the game with me. Follow after the match by my match reviews. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Big game ahead. Nothing with the 3 points. Take care and Forza Barca.